Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. Today is April 10th. The 2022 season is underway. We have real games, and the players are playing for real. You see where I'm going with this? This week, Pirates fans found themselves stuck in a glass case of emotion. I can't do Will Ferrell very good. The Bucs agreed to terms on an 8-year, $70 million extension with Ke'Bryan Hayes, and then Hayes gets hurt and leaves in the first inning of the first game. All right, we're going to get into all the highs and all the lows of the week and look forward from here. Let's get started. Let's go Bucs. My name is Josh, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother, Jake. What's up, Jake?
How we doing, man?
Doing good.
Yeah.
You try not to yell when you're on the mic when you're doing the intro. I really probably needed to yell that glass case of emotion thing in order to actually deliver. Did not deliver on that.
Yeah.
But
that's all right.
It's all right. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
How's things going, man?
Things are going good. I mean, geez. We're back in baseball.
Yeah.
Weather's getting a little bit better.
Weather's getting better. Dude,
Yeah.
Tuesday's weather looks so good.
I can't wait, man.
I'm so pumped for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a lot to get into. If you're looking forward to getting outside and swinging the bat, go check out Swearingen Bat Company. They have a ton of great stuff, and they're like local. So we're going to talk about them a little bit later, but we're going to talk about the Hayes extension, Diego Castillo, Mitch Keller, and the rest of the pitching and these lineups. A little bit about the home opener and how we react to the first 3 games of the season. First, let's do a little Bucs Clippers. I don't know. I titled this for whatever reason. If you guys hate it, just let me know. But Bucs Clippers injured list this week. Some of these we already knew about, but this week Sam Howard, Luis Oviedo, Anthony Alford, Max Kranick, Dwayne Underwood after the first game, and Greg Allen. All of them on the injured list right now. Incoming players signed catcher Andrew Knapp. Yay. Outfielder Jake Marisnick. Yay. And outgoing this week, the right-handed pitcher Adonis Medina, who we just claimed off waivers from Philly, was DFA'd and then traded to the Mets for cash. So your toilets at PNC Park will be clean now. That's the joke, right? And called up because of Dwayne Underwood going down, Roansy Contreras, the only healthy pitcher available on the 40-man roster when Underwood got hurt. So he came up totally outside of plan. We'll probably talk about it for a second. Let's get into the main thing here.
I tell you what.
Before we do.
Last little clipper.
Okay. Oh, Bucs Clippers. I like that. You went right
really
there.
Not really Bucs Clipper, but hey, if you're listening and you're watching, my wife may come home while we're recording this, my dogs might go insane. So if I do, I will pull down and mute. And if you don't hear me for a few minutes, I'm trying to calm the dogs down. So just a little heads up.
Yes. Yes. That's good. All right. So now let's get into it.
Yes.
And we haven't done a clap for a long time.
Mm-mm.
Not a long time. I mean, lockout kind of not much to clap about. Pirates signed Ke'Bryan Hayes to an 8-year, $70 million extension with an option for a 9th year. The option is for $12 million. The buyout's for $6 million. So essentially it's a 9-year, $76 million. But he's guaranteed 70. If they use the buyout, it'll get up to 70. So over the 8 years, it's 64, right? The breakdown is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
$10 million for the next, for this year and next year, and then it goes down for 4 years, which, by the way, seems to line up right when you and I think they're going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Down to $7 million. You talk about opening the door and structuring your contract to say, no money now, so let's raise the price now. Let's lower it when I want you to help strengthen the team.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whose idea that was, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Key's idea. Build around me. You remember those days where Bagwell and Biggio used to say, let's do this all over again and pay me less so that you can build this team because I want to win. You know what I'm saying? Like players that's important to them. So, don't come out here and say like, oh, they ripped him off for those 4 years. Well, maybe it was, maybe he wanted that too. Yeah. I would. You're getting the same money regardless of what year it comes to you.
Sure.
The only way he doesn't get this money is if he like goes and breaks the law or takes PEDs. Or, that's on you.
Right. Yeah.
So
no, it's great.
The front load is perfect. Sorry, I've totally forgot about the clap thing there.
Great job. It's a great job getting this done.
It is a great job. Hey, Pirates payroll has now surpassed that of Max Scherzer, so that joke's over. Guardians just did that too. They just locked up 3 guys.
Yeah. That closer.
Clase, yep.
Clase, Miles
Straw, and the big one to Ramirez.
Yeah, the big, yep.
Which is, their record-setting.
Yeah, and they like I've heard people say still considered a team-friendly deal.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you're signing the paper, which means it's a player-friendly deal too.
Yep.
You don't know what's going on there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to bet on yourself, and I love that when players bet on themselves. But, I mean, you have the right to say no to that.
Yeah.
So these team friendly does make sense, but that doesn't mean it's not player friendly.
Yeah. I loved when they were talking to Key about it. And he's like, hey, this team drafted me. I love this team. I love the city. I love these fans, and this is where I want to be.
Yeah,
so
he said
to him, it's all about where you want to be. Not, $70 million is a lot of money.
I don't care how you write it down.
It don't matter.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And he said that one of his goals was to sign an extension to whoever team that drafted him. He wanted to be there for a long time. I think that's for one, that's like a cool goal. But for two, like, he was motivated to get this done as well. And I just don't think that the case is they lowballed him and got him down. No. This guy has barely played. He had 20-some games where he showed elite offensive, you know what I mean? And then he had a whole season where he had just hurt his hand. We don't really know, we don't really know what his ceiling is as far as at the bat. I'll tell you this. Those 4 years he's making $7 million, he could hit 230 for me, and he's worth $7 million.
Oh yeah,
that glove alone.
Mm-hmm.
But I would kind of hope he doesn't hit 230. You know what I mean? I want him to. But the other thing is he has been hurt, and the one thing that I saw a lot. Now this is before we knew what the injury was and things like that. I saw a lot of people who were saying, like, you got a cramp, dude? Like, I need you to play through a cramp. You're in Pittsburgh now. You're going to have to play through a cramp, right? And I saw a lot of this, and I think there's a lot of that to it. And you have to see there's going to be a time when he's going to have to play through some things because that's the way it goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if...
I think that's a little off base for game 1 of the year.
Well, that's what I would say. So I'm not agreeing with this entirely, but here's what I'm saying though. Because he's now with the Pirates, which means he's dealing with Pirate fans.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Pirate fans out there who are going to want you to play through a cramp. They don't care if it's game 1 or game 162. They don't care. Yeah. And I think the issue with this, you know what, you might be saying that. What was you going to say?
No, I was saying he came out and said that he wishes it would have happened while they were hitting because he wouldn't have came out of the game.
It was the idea that, like, we could fix this, but it's going to take a little bit of time, and you just can't take time, so they made a move. They can't sit there and hold up the game, right?
Right.
So I understand that. I also think, like, there was, like, a little bit of a... You got to think, if you're Shelton and you're looking at this situation and you say, okay, we just agreed to an 8-year deal to pay this kid $10 million this year. He's coming out of this game, and we're going to fix this because this isn't about the next 3 weeks. right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is about the next 8 years. I want this guy healthy. And
Yeah,
so I would imagine there's a little bit of a, he's got to be really focused on making sure long-term health is there,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And if you want to tell Key Brian that he needed to suck it up, maybe he didn't have a say in it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't
Maybe he
know.
just said,
He
"Hey,
did he did stop the game and say something's wrong.
well, yeah, but I mean, you have to."
And you know what? He owned up to it. He was like, "Hey, I thought I was doing a good job hydrating, and apparently, I need to drink more water."
Yeah.
in my best Key Brian Hayes voice. Yeah, you know what? The other thing that I saw was that we signed the wrong guy,
Hmm.
and guys, first thing I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna let you have it on this if you've got thoughts, but you can talk to more than one guy at a time.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean that they're not working on Reynolds.
Right.
Well, especially after all that stuff that came out, which we didn't make time to talk about the Reynolds stuff this week. We probably should have, but especially after all that stuff, it sounds like there's some pretty high ups that are pretty upset with the way that went down. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a job opening somewhere soon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I hope not, because I don't like to see that happen. But
Sure.
somebody made a mistake, and the two guys that you would want to answer to seemed like they were not on the same page with that somebody. So that's
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of a yikes there. But either way, yeah, you can talk to more than one person at a time. And I would argue, and I don't know if you have anything on this, but I would argue that getting this deal done may help the other deal.
Yeah. I mean, getting any deal done is going to help the next one. That you showed a commitment that, even though some of yous might think, oh, 70 million is, we lowball, what, doesn't matter. You locked a guy up for 8 years with
Yeah,
guaranteed money, the largest in franchise history.
that's right.
Whether it blows him away or not, it's that's not the point. The point is, we locked a guy up, we've opened up the wallets, we paid somebody. Now the next guy's gonna be like, okay, we're gonna do this.
It's not just
Then
going to
let's
be
do it.
me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I have another thing on this too. I think it's cool that he was first, because you know what? He's going to break this record, and then Reynolds is going to break this record.
yeah,
Because Reynolds is going to bring in more. I was saying Reynolds could go 5.75. Key went 8.70.
yeah.
Now Key's also, behind a little bit. Well, probably only like a year of service different. You know what I mean?
Probably, yeah. Well, yeah, probably
Like
a year and a half.
he's 2 and some change, and Key's 1 and some change. Because Reynolds
Yeah,
was super too. So so he's more than like 2.5. But yeah, he's really only just a little over a year further into the thing. But age
yeah.
wise, he's a little bit further. So you're not
Right.
going to get quite as much. You know what I mean? Maybe you do. Oh, dude, could you imagine? But maybe you do. But I think it's cool because now we can actually break that record twice. It's such a weird thing to care about, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gives us a little
If they
something to
get
say.
there, I think they're under the gun now with Reynolds, as far as getting this deal done, if they get something done. So they may just do a smaller deal right now and
Yeah.
then work on the extension later. But
Yeah. And you know what? They could do a 2-year deal, which feels like, oh, why would you do that? But they could do a 2-year deal, but then continue to negotiate an extension on top of that 2 years
mhm,
during that contract. So they could do a 2-year deal, and then this offseason, with next year already figured out, they could still extend past that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, that's easy. And so I feel like that's something that a lot of people have kind of written about, is that's similar to somebody else. I can't think of the example now, but that's similar to something that they did,
yeah,
where they were able to then move that into something longer term. But it does sound like they're going to be pressured to get something signed before that hearing, huh?
Yeah.
Whether that's long term or whether that's this year, something will get done.
I mean, I'm hoping for long term, but if it's a 2-year deal just to get us avoid that arbitration process, then it's a 2-year deal and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, they avoid this year and next year to give them that leeway of not having to worry about even filing next year. And that's the positive thing of the 2-year deal and why it would be 2 years. Because it's like, hey, we're not only gonna meet this year, but we're also gonna say, well, let's not do this dance next year. Let's get that year figured out. And then next offseason, we already have a contract figured out, but let's figure out an extension. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's good. But dude, the Key Brian Hayes thing, like, I'm just so excited. He's a good kid. He's going to be a great player to be around. You know what? There's so many layers to this for me. And watching that game today, man, it did feel like there was like a shift. Key Brian made all those really nice plays, and you had a shaken up Arenado who missed a backhand that they gave Castillo a hit on that. And it was funny because I looked at Katie and I said, you give that a hit or an error? She's like, I think it's an error. And I was like, I don't know, man. He smoked that ball, and it was a backhand. I said, I know they'll give him a hit, but that is a borderline. They could have given Arenado an error on that. But I think that they always are going to go hit on that. 98 off the bat. I think there's enough there to kind of a tough backhand hop. But either way, like, he had that play. The Arenado usually, that's not a tough play for him. And then he misses the one ground ball. And everybody's saying, dude, he looks like he's getting beat out right now. You know what I mean? He looks like he's getting shown up. And it was kind of fun. Obviously, it was one game. That's not a big deal. But Key had a really nice showing today, and I was really happy to see that. So let's get into the games because that's kind of part of it. We already said he came out of that first game in the very first inning, and it just felt like you had the news break that they agreed to the contract, and then all of a sudden this game comes and you're super pumped and you know what I mean? You're ready to go. And then the opening day parade of sorts by St. Louis was unreal. I will say this. And anybody who follows Bridge to Buctober on Twitter probably already figured this out because I just drool over their outfield. I absolutely drool. In my opinion, best outfield in all of baseball. And I'll take anything. Like, you can bring it to me. I'm not saying that I guarantee that, but they're definitely in discussion, man. Those guys are just crazy talented. Unbelievable. Like, you got the Greek god in left field who...
Oh, jeez.
I mean, the dude is like, nobody that plays baseball is built like that. Nobody. He looks like a cartoon.
He'll be on the injured list.
Oh, that's what everybody says. He wasn't last year.
I know.
He won a Gold Glove and smacked a ton of homers, man. The dude is legit. He's a ball player.
He's good.
He just is thick.
Yeah.
I hear you. But... And Bader's on that dude's on.
Bader's good.
He's so good out there. He's not quite the threat at the plate that you get from O'Neill or Carlson, really. Dylan Carlson's a stud in the making, man. He's still young. He's absolutely going to be. He's going to be.
Well, they're all somewhat young, aren't they?
They're all somewhat young, in their 20s for sure. But Carlson, I think, is a few years behind the other two. He just came up like last year, and I mean, this dude's going to be.
He showed off an arm today.
Yeah, well, even
it hit off a gamble, but I mean that was
that was weird. It's like, oh, an errant throw, and I'm like, that throw. If it doesn't hit him, he's out. Yeah. But also, just he's gonna when he grows into that swing and really gets comfortable in the majors. I mean, you could see multiple 35 homer seasons. You know what I mean? Like, that guy's super legit. But anyway. I only say that to say I've got a lot of respect for St. Louis. I've been to a baseball game there. Their fans are awesome. Not only do they know baseball, but they're not jerks to you. They treat you well. They say, "Hey, hopefully we beat you," like in a joking way, and then they say, "I really hope you have a good time and you enjoy the stadium." And I had so many of them come up to me and say, "I've been to your stadium. It's unbelievable. It's the best stadium I've ever been." You know what I'm saying? Like, I had nobody. There was one guy there who was kind of ragging on us. Now, granted, I was there for a playoff game. Yeah. And they were still talking like, you know what I mean? They were still super nice. And there was one guy kind of ragging on him, and there was Cardinal fans telling him to shut up. And I'm just like, dude, You know what I'm saying? Like, I have respect for them.
Yeah.
So, boy,
I've not been to St. Louis yet. I want to get out there.
it's great. And now it's like they got all that stuff out there in that ballpark village and stuff. Like they were just starting that back when we went. We went for the NLDS that year when, all that fun stuff. I don't have to say what year that was. Everyone knows there was only one. That's been recent. But anyway, that parade was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, that was.
Somebody had to say, "Hey, you think this is going to take a minute? Like, I don't know if we should be doing this." Like, I'm pretty sure that maybe we shouldn't do the trucks. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they said that Ford donated those trucks. Like, each one of those players, that was their truck.
Jeez.
I don't know if that's right or not. I feel like I heard it. Let's get into the game. Key Brian Hayes. The wind was swirling. He almost caught that ball back there. That had nothing to do with the injury.
No, nothing.
So tell me about the starting pitcher. This is your world.
Yeah, and Brubaker went 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 4 earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, gave up that big home run to DeYoung.
No, my guy.
Oh, that's
swinging
right.
His toothpick.
Yep, that was O'Neill. DeYoung was Keller, game 2. But yeah, Brubaker's got to locate a little better. He had a lot of pitches that were borderline that he just wasn't getting chases on. So I don't know if there's something there that he's tipping some pitches that, there's got to be something there. You can't find it by watching it on TV.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just his other pitches weren't setting them up right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he's not locating a fastball, he's not getting a swing and miss on a slider. You know what I mean? That's just
right. But yeah, I mean,
I feel that
Will Croak, he threw well in this game. Chris Stratton threw well.
More on that.
Aaron Fletcher,
he's healthy.
Whew.
Right? I mean, we know this. When we go to 26, he's out. We already know this.
Yeah.
We knew that before this season started, that he's on his way out as soon as we go back to 26.
Yeah.
Actually, it might be Miggy Yahoo, although he didn't look bad either.
No, he looked good.
But, yeah, I mean,
on the flip side, you had Adam Wainwright, who just
he's
the Pirates.
He not only owns the Pirates, but that dude is 40, and I swear to you, he could go another year. I can already see it.
Yeah.
He doesn't look phased by age, man. He's still good. That curveball is still nasty. And everybody's like, "Oh, well, you blew 90 by you." Play ball. You'll understand that 90 is very fast. And when you're setting that up with a 60-mile-an-hour curveball, forget about it.
Right. And, he loses velocity each year. It seems like he loses another tick, and it just doesn't faze him. He's like, okay, well, it's still painted on the black.
Locate.
I'll still blow it by you because I'm going to set it up with this 60-mile-an-hour curveball.
Yep.
And you're going to have to be waiting for it. You're going to have to look for it.
That's exactly right.
You got to look fastball, adjust off speed, but not when that curveball is that good. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you got to look curveball. And when you look curveball and he sneaks at 90, good luck.
That's the thing. And you would think that it'd be easier to adjust on that curveball, but that's not an easy pitch to hit anyway.
Right.
It's like a softball pitch. It's sometimes as big as the loop is. I mean, it's just so much. And it doesn't he's good. Locate is always going to beat velocity. Always, especially in this day and age. And we saw that when Roanzi went out there in game 2, is he's throwing 97 or 9. He threw 98 to what's his face and just absolutely smoked it to Arenado. And it's like, dude, 98. Arenado sees 98, man. Mm-hmm. That's not enough. You've got to locate 98, and you've got to locate your other pitches in order to get that.
Which is the development that he needs. The reason that he was actually sent to AAA.
Yeah, and you know what? We'll get into that game next. We'll get into that game next. But first, let's go back to Diego Castillo coming into that first game and having to face Wainwright. And with everybody calling for him to be in the lineup, and I'm not saying that I wasn't one of the ones calling, because I was.
I definitely was.
And the thing is I was calling for him to be in the lineup, but that was it. I didn't, he's going to have to face Wainwright.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes 0 for 3 in that game, which he ended up going 0 for 3 in that game, that's fine. It's baseball. He's got a major league debut, and he's got. It reminds me of the Cole Tucker thing when he hit his home run on his debut, when he hit the home run in the 5th, which turned out to be the game-winning home run, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after the game, he's like, I don't know, like there's lightning. Buster Posey's here. You know what I mean? And the Buster Posey's here line is so classic. I mean, Cole Tucker is, you know what I mean? I mean, he's electric himself, but as far as like talking to him, right? He's a very likable guy. But I could just see that type of thing going through the head of Diego Castillo. Like, dude, Yadi Molina's behind me. Adam Wainwright is throwing to me. Albert Pujols was talked to before this game. Like, are you kidding me? And here I am, I'm taking the field. You know what I mean? And, dude, and not only that, but like the fact that he didn't start that game, he had no shot in those at-bats. He looked so overmatched. And we never saw that from him all spring, and he looked lost, and rightfully so.
I think they said that was his first time, like, in a major league ballpark.
One other time. When he got traded to the Pirates and he was in Altoona, some guys made a trip to PNC and watched a game, and that was his first time ever at a major league ballpark.
So this is only his second time ever in a major league ballpark.
Major league stadium.
So his first time he was at PNC, where there was probably what?
Exactly.
Maybe 20,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking July, I think, when that trade was done. So yeah, not even that. Maybe we were already out of it.
You're probably 18,000, 15,000 people in that stadium. Yeah. And then he comes into an absolutely sold out Busch Stadium.
Oh,
and rocket. It's loud. And they even said it. He says, Adam Wainwright. He says, they said, how'd you feel going up with Adam Wainwright? He goes, well, he's one of the best.
Yeah. What do you want me to do?
Right.
So anyway, the overreaction to that first game was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
It's one game. We got blasted 9-0. Brubaker was off. We get that. Fletcher gave up a ton late, which made it look worse than it was, right? You're talking about a 5-run game. And the offense wasn't good, but the offense also just got carved up by a really good pitcher who was understanding that Wainwright isn't going to look like this every game. But this dude at 39 last year pitched 200 innings and had an ERA like in the low 3s or high 2s. Like legit was still really good last year.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, but like knowing that this is his last year, that this is Yachty's last year, that this is Albert's last year, and they're doing it all together. Like, dude, come on. They're playing with some emotion there too. We stood no chance from the very beginning. No chance.
And I just want to throw it out. I didn't even think about that when we were talking predictions, because if I could do it over again, I think I'd pick the Cardinals.
I mean, when I started looking through that lineup, and I'm talking about this outfield, don't sleep on the fact that you got Arenado and Goldschmidt on the corners. And I'll tell you another thing, and this goes for the whole series, because we found out on Saturday and today, if DeYoung can go the other way, this dude's going to blow up.
Yeah.
He's been a Deadpool hitter, and he knocked Keller's home run was to right field, and he hit that line drive 100-some miles an hour off the bat to right field in the game today, this afternoon. And I'm like, dude, if Paul DeYoung goes full field, look out, man. This guy's not a slouch either.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to hurt them is they're going to have Molina in the lineup all year in order to make this special. And he's going to help out the pitching, but that's about it. He just doesn't look like he's going to offer very much offensively, and I don't think that's a surprise to anybody.
I thought his swing looked all right. It's just, he's not getting doubles.
It's not as fast. You know what I mean? Like, he's aged. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Think about a catcher and getting, the lower half in, and it's just going to be hard for him. Pujols is going to have his moments. I don't think he gets 20 homers. What's he need, 21 to get to 700? I don't know that he gets there. It looks like he's mostly just going to be playing against lefties.
I mean, I hope he does.
I think it'd be cool if he does.
I think it'd be great for him to be in the 700 club, but
yeah,
I don't see it.
Well, he should play every game at PNC Park when they come to town, because if we remember those days, he absolutely obliterates that stadium. So
yeah.
So let's go into Saturday. Big game Saturday. Obviously, the Mitch Keller start. This is the one that we've had our eyes on. We know what spring training outings are. We understand that there are times that the numbers look better. There are times that the pitching looked a lot better. You want to see it for real.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Brubaker threw 68 pitches for those 3 innings. And it looks like Keller threw 70. And then fast forward to today where Bryce Wilson threw 64. Guys, this is design. I didn't think any of these guys were going more than 5 innings. But it looks like 70 pitches was about where they were supposed to be for this series. And that's going to be the case for more than that. As a matter of fact, if you even look over, I'm going to pull this up right now. Wainwright threw 81, and he was dealing, right? He wasn't going to go much further than that. They wanted him 6, and then he was done. And that's it. They're not stretched out. They had 12 less games of spring training than they usually do, which for a pitcher is 2 outings. He's not stretched out.
Yeah.
They're only going to go 4 to 5 innings, or in Brubaker's case, because he threw so many pitches, he only made it 3. So
who was it that had the no-hitter going?
Oh, shoot. I don't remember.
And they pulled him just because his pitch count. Like, I mean, that's the way it is right now.
Right now, especially. If this was opening day in any other year, I think I'd be like, come on, how many no-hitters on opening day?
Right.
But there's just so many things. First off, they don't play the game that way. And you and I can argue that all day long, that we think that he should just keep going, dude. Let him do something special. Let him do something special. But in this right here, there's no way. You're not getting a guy hurt because he's not stretched out.
Yeah, I'm just basically throwing out there. It's not the Pirates.
Yeah. Well, yeah, good point.
It's the league.
That's a good point. Yeah, and that's what I was saying about Wainwright too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Michaelis struggled a good bit, but I mean, shoot, Michaelis threw 77 pitches and he was done, and he only made it through 3 1/3. And they were like, you know what? We're not getting him to 80, kind of a deal. You know what I mean? Matt's went 75 today. Now we blew him up, so that's a little bit different, but but still, it's the idea that it's like this is the range you're going to be in. So when we talk about this Mitch Keller start, knowing 4 innings, he wanted another inning because he said I could have done another inning, and 4 runs in 4 innings doesn't look good, but I was grooving. I could have done another inning fine. While I agree with that, like, we understand what's going on, dude. You weren't going any further. And quite frankly, if you look at it in that way, like, yeah, cool, you've got a 9 ERA. You can pretty much with confidence say he was going to go out there and go 1, 2, 3 in his head, right? I mean, obviously nothing is said in baseball. You have to go out there and do it. But in his head, he was confident enough he could have done 1, 2, 3. And as far as I can throw, I will say I'd rather him leave with that confidence than get in and actually get rocked and then lose the confidence. So I'm good with the confidence. What's the concert thing? Leave him wanting more. If they say one more song, then you've done a good job. You don't necessarily have to play it. They wanted more. That's a good thing. They'll come see you next time. But anyway, let's go ahead and break down Mitch Keller's line here.
So he went 4 innings, gave up 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and that home run to Young.
Yeah.
So he started off rough, and part of that wasn't this. Didn't St. Louis or didn't we get off to a decent start? No, we got the 1-run lead that took a while because we stranded bases loaded there.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, we had that long first half inning. Sometimes that's hard for a starter. When you get that long break, and then you ramp your stuff up, you're ready to go. Now you're used to it. Okay, I'm going to be starting the second half of the inning. That's fine. But then I think it was like a 30-minute inning. Like, it was a long inning.
Okay.
That's a long time. This isn't a 4-minute delay. Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole. Come on, Garrett Cole. I hope you guys know what he's talking about. We're not getting into it.
Anyway,
Oh
so
my
but
gosh.
I mean, it could that could have had something to do with the way he started off, but he found it. I thought he
Yeah,
found it, and he kind of got into a little bit of a groove. The 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 pitch to DeYoung needed to be higher. He missed his location
that's not the
a
first
little
inning
low.
though. Yeah, that was
No,
okay.
no, that wasn't. But once he even though it wasn't the first inning, I'm just saying he just
I
missed
got
his
you.
location on
I got
that.
you. Yep.
That one was supposed to be up above the zone, or at least at the top of the zone. It was kind of belt high,
Mm-hmm.
and it got punished.
So the thing is about that first inning is, 96.7 to DeYoung, who was the third out. Like that was the first ball, and then he carved him up with the other pitches. But he starts off with the single to Carlson, but like everything was there. Like I don't see, I'm kind of looking at the pitches here. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen for those of you on YouTube here. Like he gives up the single in just three pitches or whatever. And then Goldschmidt pops out, still looking okay, but he's at like 95, right? He's not seeing that. You get the stolen base, and then you walk O'Neill, which I'm kind of like, that's okay. Now you set up the double play. Unfortunately, it's Nolan Arenado. He gets one strike, and then look at this pitch right in the middle of the zone. He throws the curveball, hangs it right in the middle. Arenado doubles. That's how they get their first inning run. And then everything else was fine from there. And then it was the third inning, right? It was the third inning where he gives up the runs. What was his second inning? So, I mean, four
He
guys.
gave up.
He
He gave up
Todd
one in the
Edmond
second
walk.
too, didn't he?
No, just the walk. And then
Yeah.
comes right back and gets a ground out. So ground out, pop out, walk, ground out. Just didn't feel like he had everything. And then you started to see it here in the third inning to end the inning. You kind of saw a little bit of who was it that he threw? I guess not. The velo wasn't there. And so that's the thing that you kind of worried about. But that was the one where Paul DeYoung hit the 3-run homer. And so that was kind of, no, 2-run homer. They had already scored on Arenado's hit. So anyway, he gives up the 2-run homer, and then it felt like something clicked a little bit for that fourth inning. And we not only saw like the ground out to start the inning, but then he goes right at him, and you saw 97.6 for the first strikeout. And then Goldschmidt, he throws 97.4 back-to-back pitches, 98.9 on the ball. So, like, you started to see that velocity start to show up. And then he was out. And you know what I mean? And that's what he said, like, hey, I felt like I finally got my fastball, and then, I was done for the day. That's okay. Like, a buddy texted me and he said, what do you think so far? Mitch Keller, it was the third inning. He'd just given up the home run. And I said, this is good. Because this is what we want to see. Because in the past, he folds. And I felt like he went out and got it. Like he kind of found it a little bit. Ultimately, not a great outing for him. I'm not sitting here trying to say like, oh, he was better than it was. No, he wasn't. He struggled. But that's what we're like. I actually wanted to see that early because you wanted to see the growth. And now we get to see that. I'm really looking forward to the next start. But is that how you kind of felt about it? Like it was like he spent most of that game kind of searching for it?
Yeah. And to me, it looked like he couldn't, maybe he didn't spend enough time throwing in the bullpen before he started the game. It could have been, just
didn't do enough figure eights.
Yep. No, I mean, everybody's different, and everybody's pregame's completely different. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to say because I don't know what his pregame is. I don't know what everybody's pregame is.
Okay,
I
so
don't care. I'm not looking into that far.
Yeah, so speaking of pregames, then let's move on to Roanzi then.
Sure.
Because this was a big thing that you brought up to me where I kind of was like, yeah, I mean, he's shell shocked was my thing. He's getting on a plane. He's coming here. I would imagine they probably told him he had his days worked out to pitch on Saturday. They probably told him, hey, you're going to go out there in the fifth inning and pitch. Now, he ended up fifth or sixth, you know what I mean? And so he understood fifth or sixth inning, it's my turn. I'm going to start off that inning. If they would have had to get Keller out of trouble, they wouldn't have went to him. They would have went to somebody else so that he could start an inning as if it was a start. And you kind of pointed out, like, yeah, he started an inning, but it's still different.
Yeah.
You don't get like a game time that you know exactly what time the game's going to get started. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when I mentioned the starting pitchers pregame, I mean there's all kinds of stuff that goes into it. You run sprints, you run poles, you long toss, you do this, you do that. And if you do all that before the game, and that's all fine and good, but then you sit for an hour, you basically didn't do that.
I would imagine he tried to time it so that he didn't start that stuff. He probably wasn't. I mean, I don't actually know, but I bet he wasn't just sitting out in the bullpen. I bet he was going through those things. But how do you time that? Was it earlier than he thought? Was it later than he thought, like you saying, and he had to sit?
You can't long toss, though.
No, he would have had to long toss before the game.
Yeah, there's some things you just can't do when you're coming in halfway through the game, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's different.
Yeah.
It is. I've been there. I've been, not obviously not in that aspect.
Yeah, not flying on a plane.
I've been right. And I'm not discrediting that at all. I guarantee you that had something to do with it.
Right.
But it didn't help that he didn't get to go through his pregame routine.
Right. Yeah, and I think there's probably a lot to that. I mean, I also think just, with that and with the shell shock of just being like, oh, crap, I'm getting called up. I'm not starting here. This is entirely different than what I thought it was going to be. And then it's probably a whirlwind going through. And some guys, when you put them into that situation, they think a lot less and they just go. But I'm telling you, the thing that you talked about, the thing that I talked about, and then add that he shows up and his pitch comm isn't working, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, it's not working. I can't get it to work. And then let's just go with the signs. How many times has he worked with Roberto Perez?
Right.
I don't know. So, there was just a lot going into it. He walked a couple guys. He didn't get that strikeout. He gave up a couple hits and a couple runs. And, not a great outing.
It is.
But, it is what it is. It happened. So what?
He'll be fine.
He's
22.
Yeah, exactly. So, the other good thing, Brian Hayes did show up. He was there. He was playing on Saturday, which was the kind of the big thing where everybody was like, okay, all right, yeah, we're fine. Everything's fine. We're going. And then he shows up with a couple hits, which was really good. Yoshi in those first two games, dude, just was locked in, it looked like. His at-bats were good. He's driving the ball good, all of the things. We're not going to talk about the lineup necessarily because that's coming a little bit later, and we need to keep moving. But, just kind of an interesting game on Saturday. Just felt like it wasn't quite there. You good? Are you going to get a visitor now?
No. Mom was just trying to call me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So anyway, then come to today, and the offense seemed to kind of blow up. We get a different lineup because of the lefty, so we get different guys in the game, and those guys seem to step up pretty well. Key Bryant had another good game. But let's quickly go through Bryce Wilson here. We got to get moving a little bit, but let's quickly get through Bryce Wilson. 4
innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and he also gave up a home run.
Did you hear that the Blue Jays have hit 17-something home runs?
Jeez Louise.
Holy cow. Anyway. Yeah. So Bryce Wilson this spring, I was like, I'm really unimpressed by him. He looks incredibly... this is not a... I'm not like a, body shamer guy at all by any stretch of the imagination. He just looked out of shape. And I that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't mean that he looks like, oh, well, he's fat. That's not what I'm saying. He looked out of shape.
Yeah.
He looked like he wasn't ready to go. But that doesn't always mean that he's not ready to go. That doesn't always mean he's not going to do well. So he didn't look like he was ready to go. Like his performance, they were bad.
Yeah.
His last 2 outings in spring, I was like, okay, we might be doing all right. And it was a lot of that, dude. Like, that first inning was like 100 miles an hour off the bat, 90 miles an hour, 98 miles an hour off the bat, 104 off the bat. You know what I mean? Like, they were tagging him.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, he ain't going to last 3 innings. Like, he's out in the third, guaranteed.
Yeah.
He settled down a little bit. They were still hitting the ball hard. He got some really good defensive plays behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of settled in after we took the lead. That was big. When you see your team go out there, and we scored the runs in the third, he goes down there for the bottom of the third, and it was different.
Yeah.
You hit that grand slam, you get a little momentum. He did kind of change his game. And the third and fourth inning were pretty good. I still don't know where I'm at with him. It's kind of like a wait to see kind of thing. But, like, in that second inning, he gets Goldie to hit into that double play. And then we go into the dugout. We score 5 runs. He comes back out, and you're talking 2 groundouts and a strikeout. Fourth inning, 1, 2, 3. Like I said, there was some defense there, so it's not like it was a simple 1, 2, 3. He still got hit pretty hard on a couple of those, and maybe could have been hits on another day or if somebody else was playing defense. But he did kind of settle in a little bit, which to me was like, I don't see him lasting through May. And then now after those 2 innings, I was like, all right, let's just keep watching and see what we got. I just don't know. But Yahore come in, and Miggy Yahoo, couple good innings. There was some location stuff for him too, but overall, he did fine. He gets his first major league win in this game.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We got a lot of firsts going on. Yeah. We get 3 hits from Diego Castillo. You get a grand slam from Michael Chavis. You get a couple really fantastic plays from Kevin Newman and Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Yep.
And finally, you get a golden sombrero from Yoshi Tsutsugo.
That's okay. I mean, Jake Marisnik made a really nice play too. He went back on a ball, he made it look easy. It wasn't an easy catch. It wasn't a super high difficulty, but he made it look nice and easy.
Yeah, I mean, we know that's a scouting report on him. He's going to make some plays out there that Cole Tucker is for sure not going to be able to make. And, you know, Tuck's trying out there, but obviously he's shortstop playing right field, and it is what it is. But I think that Marisnik, if he's playing against lefties and he's that guy, and Alford never gets a chance to come back, then, you know, I'd rather have Marisnik than Alford. So I'm here for it. I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's a good one there. I still don't understand the Van Meter signing, but we're not talking about this week. But, dude, Chavis, Daddy Hacks is what you sent. I tweeted it out. That's what you sent me. So I was like, dude, Daddy Hacks for days. Yep. And that is absolutely that's his game. And it showed up. But, dude, defensively at first base, that's as good as we got right there.
Yeah.
He can pick it.
She was a little taller.
I get that, but he can. Well, but we got guys out there who ain't going to miss him high, hopefully. You know what I mean? They're throwing him down. Make him pick it because he can definitely dig it out of there. So I think that's a really good thing.
He played well out there.
He did. But, man, I mean, an offensive explosion. Everybody but Tsutsugo hitting, which is hilarious because in the other games it was nobody but Tsutsugo.
Even like Brian Reynolds' line didn't look great, but dude, that ball that Edmund jumped up and got, man, he smoked that ball.
He did.
Such a good play.
Yeah, and he had a couple of bats I felt like he probably would want back. And you know what? I mean, like, this is what happens at the beginning of the year. It's not a big deal. Baseball's not a game where we're going to get into that later, but yeah, man, Diego getting the hits and Newman with the double and the just great plays on defense. I mean, if he can keep playing defense like that, I don't care if he hits 250. Like 250, I'm actually like, yeah, dude, 250 with defense like that, like I'll sign up for that every day. The question is, can he hit 250? So we're gonna find. It's exactly what his batting average is right now. So we'll see how that goes. He's got 1 hit in every game. He's like, I don't do the 2 hits. I just do 1 just to stay in the lineup. I think Roberto Perez is looking okay at the plate right now, which I was kind of surprised at. But kind of the story for me, like, I don't know. It's kind of hard. I like seeing Diego with the multi-hits and going out there and getting some good hits. But Michael Chavis hitting the granny, and then still having other at bats where he went out. He didn't even strike out in this game. Like, you're talking about 3 hits plus a walk. I mean, I really was impressed, and it just goes to show, like, Chavis should be in the lineup every time there's a lefty out there. Really should be. And you kind of wonder, like, we've got guys like him and Cole Tucker who you're kind of like, and Diego, like, you want to see them play with extended at-bats, like, play every day and see what you have. With Chavis, you could be talking about a guy who has power. Diego's just because we think he can hit. But the two, like Chavis and Cole Tucker, I have to see them. Because if I don't know what I have, I don't know what to do for next year.
Right.
So that's the thing that's really bugging me about this, is as much as I want Diego in the lineup every day, I really have to see those two guys play. Give them 2 months at least. If it's still not clicking, if Chavis is all or nothing or only performing against lefties, then it starts to make more sense. But I don't know, man. I think that there's a clear-cut way that you can. This lineup today was good, and we're going to talk about that next. But let's finish off these games by talking about one more guy. We're gonna close out the weekend series talking about the last guy to throw a pitch this weekend. Well, yeah, because tomorrow's not technically the weekend. So, Will Crow.
Yeah.
What happened? Did we just absolutely and accidentally discover, like, that he might actually have? Now, he's not. This isn't going to be like he's going to hit his lumps. It always happens, guys. You know what I mean? Don't jump and say he's winning a Cy Young out of the bullpen. Like, that's not what we're saying. But he's showing the tools that he can pump it up to 97.
Yeah.
That curveball to end the game was nasty.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think I've ever seen that good of a pitch come out of his hand.
Yeah, I mean, some guys, you put them in that bullpen, and they give you everything they got because they know they ain't going to be out there too long. And
he came in
clicks.
He came in that first game, and the changeup looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, dude, if he throws this changeup like this, he's really. Today I saw a fastball and a curveball out of him. Like, just stop there. Fastball, curveball, changeup. That's all you need.
Yep.
Pitch out of the bullpen and actually throw that ball hard. That might be a little bulldog in him there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I liked it. I like what I seen from him out of the bullpen.
He's never starting for me again.
Mm-mm.
Not when I see what potential is there. And he's gonna, like I said, he's probably gonna have to change a few things to learn that a little more, but I see potential there.
Mm-hmm.
We still have one more game against the Cardinals tomorrow or today for this is releasing on Monday. So, and then baseball's back in Pittsburgh. So let's take a break. And we don't actually have a lot of time. We always go over, but we're going to go ahead and go through this anyway. We're going to talk a little bit about lineup design and a couple other things. But let's take a break and we'll be right back. Thanks for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's Bridge, the number 2 Buctober. Audio podcast available on your favorite podcast platform. Video podcast available on YouTube. Follow, subs, likes, comments, replies. All that helps. Talk to us. We'll be right back. And we are back here on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. We're going to talk about these first 3 lineups, which has been a topic of discussion for more than just us. But before we do, I got to say, when you're not a great team stacked with a ton of talent, then there's going to be a lot of people wanting to say how bad these hitters are. So if you really think you can do better, then go get yourself a bat from Swearingen Bat Company and start working on your swing, man. Swearingen Bat Company is Ohio's premier wood bat company specializing in custom wood bats to meet any need from T-ball to senior league. Check out their website, swearingenbaseball.com. Put the link in all the show notes. If you're on the YouTube, check it out. I got the website pulled up right now. They've got a lot of really cool bats. There's so many things that you can do. They customize everything. It's pretty cool. A Wonder Boy, if you're fans of that. Natural, all that stuff. They've also got a wiffle ball bat that is made of wood. Right? That's probably so loud and everybody's here. But it's literally designed like it's a wiffle ball bat. Super cool. This is actually Keeley's 519 North River. That's the model number. But also a lot of let's set this down here. A lot of really cool bats, man. This thing's beautiful. This is my loaded bat. I got this one here. It actually looks like we have the same exact finish. But anyway, this one's loaded. It's 34 ounce, and I literally just hid in the garage with it because it sounds so good. But it's super heavy, and like I don't play baseball anymore, I realize. But like if you were a baseball player, or even like just a rec league softball player like I am, like it just makes your bats feel so much lighter. But to go out and hit with a piece of wood, dude, it sounds so good. It's so, dude, it's satisfying. But I've got also like a blacked out bat, which is similar to yours, but even the logo and everything is blacked out. That's more of like a one I swing with. And it, dude, I just hit in the garage with it, dude. It just cracks. Yours is customized with your signature and everything?
Yeah, it's got my signature and everything on it. It's pretty sweet.
But you've been in there and everything.
Yeah, I've been in there. I've seen the process they do. It's really cool. He's got a CNC machine that he uses, finishes them off by hand. And, he picks out all the billets, hand selects each billet so that he ensures the quality of the bats. And dude, I've swung them. Man, they just feel nice. The ball seems to just jump off of them. I'd never hit one over the fence with a wood bat. I'm 35 years old and I put one out. Like the ball jumps. You know what I mean? It felt good.
Yeah,
so,
I got you.
I mean, I'd never hit one over the fence with a wood bat in batting practice. But
fungos if you're a coach.
Yes, his fungos are fantastic. I hit with one of his fungos just the other day. Man, they're nice.
Yeah.
Those Voot grips that he sells those Voot grips on his website too. You can get those there. Those are fantastic.
I'm a lizard skin guy. Still put my lizard skin on it. But anyway, dude, I mean, they sound great. I love hitting with them. There's just something about it. Like, I don't like to go out and, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know. You know, these composite bats, you can only get so many hits on them. But these bats, like, they crack. And it just sounds so good. It's satisfying to hit with a wood bat. But it's just really cool. So if you guys are in the market or whatever, go out there, let them know. I think there's like a drop down or whatever that you can kind of pick the podcast. If they don't have it in there, I think there's probably an other and you can type it in or whatever. Let them know you came there. That does help us out a little bit just so they have an idea of, you know, if anybody listening is actually going and looking for bats. But
yeah, they're super durable too.
Yeah, this is anything
some people swing them in leagues and stuff, and they have less broken bats with these than like some you can get at Dick's.
Okay, that's cool. There's also some like, wait, so on the YouTube right now, look at these bottle openers that they have. If nothing else, I'm sure you can make use out of a good wood handle bottle opener, right?
Heck yeah,
that's got to be good. So anyway, guys, let's talk about this lineup. Because this is something that you have been texting me since opening day and just going off.
Yeah, it's bad. It's been bad. I'm just going to start off with the obvious.
The one that you've been complaining about.
Daniel Vogelback is not a leadoff hitter. Yeah. My goodness, he's barely a 6-hole hitter. He's barely a starting lineup hitter.
He'd be my 5th guy. But we're going to go further into, like, we're not going to go as deep into that, right? There's power there. I would put him in the 5th hole. You wouldn't put him anywhere, but let's both agree on the fact that he's not. Dude, here's the thing. This is not a Shelton thing. This is not a Pirates thing. Kyle Schwarber's hitting leadoff for the Phillies right now too. I know he's a better hitter than Vogelbach, but if Vogelback, if Vogie is just a not as good version of Kyle Schwarber, right? He's the same guy. Yeah. He's just not as good.
Yeah.
So there's just less there, right? It's this stress to like, oh, but he's an on base guy. He sees a lot of pitches. I'm going to tell you, I've hit leadoff. I understand the value of not going up there and swinging at the first pitch if you're a leadoff hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he grooves you a fastball, you swing, obviously, but you're patient because the rest of your guys want to see a good at bat. You got to make him work a little bit. I want to see his pitches. I want to get his timing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's even those things, but there's also like the top of the order. It's your job to wear this guy down so you can get to the bullpen quicker. Things like that. Like, there's obvious reasons to put a guy like that in the leadoff spot. However, like, there has to be other things too. You can't just say, well, he's an on-base guy. He sees a lot of pitches. Yeah, he's watched how many pitches go right by him that are right down the middle too.
Mm-hmm.
For strike 3.
Yeah. And just to build on what you're saying, I get you seeing the pitches and everything. And not only does it get to the bullpen quicker, but if you have a long at bat, and then we'll just say because Reynolds was hitting right after him. Okay, you just had a long at bat, dude. I'm getting this. So I'm getting ahead of this guy right off the rip. I'm going to throw him a fastball. Brian Reynolds can jump all over it.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point.
I do get the whole aspect of it.
Absolutely.
But Vogelback is not the guy.
No, well, there has to be other things involved.
Yes.
You can't just be a guy who sees a lot of pitches.
Right.
You also have to be a guy who doesn't strike out a bunch, which career-wise, he's not like a super strikeout guy. He does swing and miss, but usually not. Like, he doesn't have like super high K rates, right? And he does have good walk rates. I don't care. Like, I'll even say this. Let's talk about the good part of his game. Why would you want a solo homer?
Yeah.
Let's get some guys on base first.
Well, not only that, I mean, we saw he got that infield single.
This is going to be it right here.
I immediately texted you and said, "Well, I can tell you one thing: Reynolds isn't getting a triple."
That's it. And but even more than the triple, like, which was absolutely hilarious and 100% right. It's not just that. And by the way, he's faster than Moran and Stallings.
That's still not saying a lot.
But neither one of those guys were ever hitting leadoff.
Right.
And I know that like speed's not a huge deal. But you still have to think about the way that you put a lineup together, that if he gets a single, we could have had a run 2 batters earlier than we did.
Yeah.
Because you had Reynolds on first and Vogelback on second. And there was a wild pitch that kicked away from Yachty.
Mm-hmm.
And he stayed put. Reynolds is at second on that ball, right? He's at second. The next guy gets a base hit, Reynolds scores.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Vogelback ended up scoring. Reynolds didn't. So the idea is that if it was anyone else, he would have gotten a third on that, and Reynolds would have gotten a second. We would have ended up with 2 runs, not 1. Mm-hmm. And so it cost us a run, the fact that he's running station to station in front of guys that are getting base hits, and then we end up with bases loaded and no runs to show for it. And then, a sac fly gets a run in, and it's like now we can't... Now we can't even get.
Bader didn't get a better throw off on that.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like, well, I got to keep it low so Reynolds doesn't move up to third and we don't do this all over again. You know what I mean? So like, I understand that too. And, but it's just the idea that like you cost us a run that inning just because he's slow. So then you're sitting there saying like, yeah, but if he gets a single and not a double, then we're pinch running in the first inning at this point so that we can get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the damage was already done. When that ball kicked away from Molina, the damage was already done. That ball went to the first base side. Anyone else gets to third on that. If that would have kicked off to the third base side, I'm 100%. Not a single person goes, especially on Yachty. He's still got an arm. But that thing kicked away towards first base, no way. No way does anybody else stay at second on that.
Right.
He's going to have to earn that.
I mean, yeah, Yachty can still throw, but I mean, I watched him this series, and dude does not get out of the squat as well as he used to.
No, but on that play, I'm even going to give him a pass. He knew Vogelbach wasn't going anywhere. He just went over and got the ball.
Well, there was the other one that with the wild pitch that was thrown today when.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank here.
Sometimes
he scored anyway.
Yeah.
And Yachty and Yachty got hit in the hand, so he was hurt a little bit, but he's still just kind of like these 38-year-old catchers been
Sometimes,
catching a lot of games.
yeah, sometimes I wonder, though, if, like, I've seen some guys go back for a ball. The ball went back to the backstop. The runner's going to second. If I know I'm going to get to that ball and he's not going to go to third, then why run back there and go into a slide and get the ball and pop up? Like, you know he's not going to third. So let me just get the ball so he doesn't go to third. Like, that's my pace. I'm going to get back here to make sure he doesn't go to third. He's already got second. Yeah. So sometimes I think that, I'm not saying on that particular play, but, like, I think sometimes we dog on these guys for not hurrying up and sprinting after the ball. And I'm like, yeah, but he knows.
No, yeah, and I wasn't dogging him.
No, that's what I mean. I said not on that play.
Yeah, and he's got miles, and it's fine.
Yeah,
and
so
he's still my starting. If he's on my
100%.
I'm not dogging at all, and I know you don't think I am, but
yeah, no, but it's just the idea that, like, we should have moved up on that. We should have had 2 runs in that inning. I'm gonna change that game a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it is. He's just slowing guys down, and it's not about stolen bases anymore. It's not about you know what I'm saying. But, like, to be honest with you, I would have rather seen Cole Tucker get out in the leadoff spot than to see Vogelback get on and slow everybody. We would have got the same amount of runs if Cole Tucker would have got up there and got out.
Yeah.
Because Reynolds would have got on, he would have moved up. There would have been the base hit by Key, he would have scored on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then Yoshi flies out, and whatever else happens, we get 1 run. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's as simple as that. Now, obviously, things happen different, but geez, I mean, how many times do you see a guy get an infield single and then go station to station? Just such a weird game, you know what I mean?
The another thing I had an issue with, and I wouldn't if it wasn't the lineup that we have to throw out there. Reynolds,
good little stab right there. That was good.
Reynolds should not have to bat 2. Or Reynolds should not be batting 2 on this team.
I got you on this team.
I think Reynolds is a fantastic 2-hole hitter. I like him there. But against righties, they had Hayes batting 3rd. Hayes isn't a 3-hole hitter.
I know, but, like, in this lineup, somebody's got to hit there. Yeah,
and I would feel better with Hayes batting 2 and Reynolds batting 3.
Yeah, that'd be my pick every time.
Other than today, I didn't mind Hayes in the leadoff spot. If Hayes bats leadoff and Reynolds bats 2, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because you're just putting those guys up there to get their at-bats and the most at-bats. But I think that's good for Hayes against the lefty to get him up there. I mean, he hits better against lefties. But I like how he goes backside. I think that those things can be unselfish at-bats. A lot of times a 2-hitter is unselfish.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if a guy gets a double, my goal is to go right side, regardless. If I ground out to second, productive at bat. If I fly out to right field, productive at bat. No matter what, productive at bat. If he gets to first and I get a base hit to right field, he moves up to third. I've done my job. Those are the things that a second-hole hitter does well, and they're also things that Key Bryant does well. So I'm right. I just think he's 2. Reynolds is 3. You put your best hitter at 3. We tried this before. Hurdle tried this with McCutchen. It never worked. I've seen other teams do this too, but most of the time those other teams also have a 3-hitter who's thumping.
Right.
I just don't think that it fits for the Pittsburgh Pirates right now. I think you switch those 2. However, I'm not even going to argue about that. Get Vogie out of leadoff, and let's start from there. I don't care if you put Kevin Newman at leadoff, and then everybody goes, boo. But I would rather him been leadoff than 5th. What's he going to do?
Right.
You got to get Tucker there. You got to get Newman there. You got to get Diego Castillo actually be a great 2-hole hitter, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're talking leadoff.
I could take Diego at leadoff.
I certainly could. There's just so many things that, I'd rather see. I don't know. Shoot, Park doesn't hit well either, but if he's going to be in the game, he does see a lot of pitches. He is a very patient guy. Put him there.
Got Diego.
It's got to be better than Vogelback.
Let's Diego and Park, neither one strike out. They don't strike out very often.
To be honest with you, neither does Newman. Career-wise,
doesn't strike out a lot.
So he's at least going to. At least
you're putting the ball in play.
Barely hit the ball, but he hits
happen.
it. Yeah. Well, don't tell Newman that. His batting average on balls in play has not been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even literally anyone. Like I'd put Gamble there. Anybody but Tsutsugo and Vogie. Anyone can do it. I just don't understand that. I don't like it. I'll say that. I know it's not a Shelton thing. I know it's a thing that a lot of guys are doing. Not a lot, but I've seen it more often. Listen, Vogelback has hit leadoff before.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily, he's like, I don't care. I'm going to do the same thing no matter where I'm at. And he should.
Yeah.
But no, that's the big thing for me is if he does get on, he's logging up. He's jamming up the base paths. You just can't have that. I'd rather my 2 and 3 hitters move guys. We just talked about moving them up, getting a first to third. It's never going to happen.
Right.
And if we had power in the lineup, if we had the Phillies lineup right now, 1 through 5 or 6, whatever that lineup is, holy moly!
My goodness.
I don't care if Schwarber does. I don't care if Schwarber doesn't go first to third because I got Real Muto, I got Harper, I got Castellanos, and I've got Hoskins. All big thumpers. Like you're in scoring position at first base on that team.
Their 1 through 5 hitters will probably hit 30 home runs each.
That's ridiculous. They can't field, but they're going to hit home runs.
And then Gene Segura is not a slouch.
Did you hear John Kruk's line on that?
Well,
neither is Gregorius. Or who knows if Bohm happens? Geez Louise. Anyway, there's the question is that their defense is going to be awful. And John Kruk said, everybody's asking me who's going to catch the ball. I'll tell you who's going to catch the ball. The fans are going to catch the ball all summer because they're going to be hitting home runs left and right. Spoken like John Kruk, right? I mean, offensive guy. He's a hitter. You know what I mean? But anyway, when you have a lineup like that are going to thump home runs, sure. But we don't.
Mm-mm.
I mean, last year, Reynolds had 24 to lead the team. The next guy had 11, and he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy after that had 10, and he's gone too. Really?
Yeah.
Now, I think full season Yoshi, he'll get in the double digits. Boy, if Chavis gets playing time, he could possibly be in that 10 to 15 range too.
Yeah.
And Vogelback obviously has the ability to have 20 homers, just because I don't think he's going to be really a trade piece. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. The lineup just needs, you got to do better than that. You got to do better. You can't have it like that. Now, today's lineup against a lefty, I got no problems.
No problems.
I liked it 1 through 9.
I liked it.
1 through 9, I liked it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no problems. I don't know if I'd trust Chavis in the 3-hole every game. Boy, today looked great, but I mean, when I watched him this spring, man, he swings so hard. I just can't imagine him hitting the ball every time. It's just hard for me. But then again, who else is it going to be? I mean, it would still be, but Yoshi looked not
completely
good against a lefty
today.
Golden sombrero. So maybe that's not. Yeah,
he won't look like that all the time. I don't think. I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, he's typically hit lefties decently, but that was kind of weird, man. He just looked at everything. Caught looking 3 straight times.
I sent you that text. I'm like, 100% you can't go down looking 3 straight times.
No.
You've got to say. And they were all the same pitch.
Right. Newman went down corner. Looking too. It's kind of surprised to see that. I don't know if there was something. I mean, he didn't look like Matt's had good stuff. I mean, we thumped him, but
he looked sharp early.
Okay. I'll give you that.
He looked good early.
I don't know. Anyway, that's our piece on the lineup. I just can't handle, Vogie Bomb hitting leadoff, and maybe
your nicknames are better than mine.
I know they're more positive. So with that said, we're pushing some time here. We got a couple more things on the list here, and I know that these ones aren't going to last very long, but I've had a couple questions, and I've seen some tweets, and people are going off and this and that and whatnot. How do you react to 3 games? Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. It's 3 games. It
Yeah.
doesn't. If these 3 games would have happened in July, or let's say the first 2 games, if they would have happened in July, you probably just say we got to bounce back. That's about the end of it.
Yeah.
And then you came in Sunday and you won 9-4 with a good offense. And you're like, hey, way to salvage a series. And we'd have been done.
Right.
Oh, we got thumped the other day. Brubaker had a rough game. That would have been it. Or you would actually say what it was on opening day. Yeah, they beat us. We couldn't hit. They went up to 5. It looked uglier than it was at the end. They scored 4 more runs.
Yeah.
But you still lost 5-0. You still got beat. You know what I mean? So like, guys, I just think there's a lot of overreaction. Oh, you really think that this team can win 70 games? Yeah, I mean 70 games is pretty bad. They look bad right now. So yes, this lines up with what I said. They're bad.
Yeah.
And I think that the cast of characters that are playing right now are going to be out of the way, and there's going to be some better things going later on. So 100%, this lines up with how I thought this would go.
Yeah.
Not to mention an emotional weekend in St. Louis with the 3 guys going out all together.
Mm-hmm.
This makes sense, right? I mean, I'm
Yep.
not surprised. Sure, there were some things that I wish went a little bit better than they did. And as much as I would have wanted Keller to do better, I really think that might have been better for him. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, this is an important year for a guy like Mitch Keller.
Yeah.
And he needs to learn. Like, he just changed everything. He looks like he's back to throwing in the high 90s again. It seems like he's got his velo back. His stuff is moving better than maybe it even was. I think Roberto Perez is going to be really good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for him to struggle a little bit out of the gate, that's probably good. It's better than him like lighting it up. I mean, it's not better. I still would have liked him to light it up.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter when he struggles, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you knew he wasn't going to officially take a step forward until he struggled. And this isn't going to be the last time he has a bad outing.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's just hope it's not every other.
That's right. It just can't be every other. And if it is, then you move on from him. And it didn't work. Yeah. But right. There's too much being made of this. And I hope that it's not like a pressure thing that he feels, you know what I mean? Although I kind of do. He needs to see pressure. He needs to be behind it a little bit and then have to prove it. Yeah. You know what I mean? If he can't do that, then he hasn't shown us anything, because the problem with him has been when his back's up against the wall, he curls up into a fetal position. And that's an exaggerated way of saying it, right? But that's what it's felt like as a fan watching it. And I just want to see his back up against the wall and then him come out and throw 98 the next inning, and that's exactly what he did. And so I'm okay with that. Now I want to see him build every start building onto that and getting a little bullish out there, going and going on attack. And, you know, hopefully that's something there. As far as Brubaker, I mean, we don't really know what we're going to get from him, but certainly an opening day start was a little too big for him, and I think we all knew that going into it.
Yeah.
Like, he's a 4 guy. He's a 3 or 4 guy. At best, he's a 3. You know, like that's what we expect out of him. I think he can be a solid pitcher. He just has to make it happen. But I think that's what he is. You know what I mean? I think he'd be a good one. He's not an ace.
No.
That's not where he's at. So,
Mm-mm.
So how do I react to 3 games? Is really just like, dudes, this is fine. It might be a little bit harder for you with throwing out that 77, but for me at 70, I'm all right. You know what I mean?
It's a 5-game difference.
It's a 7-game difference.
We were going to struck
77 to 70.
Oh, I thought you said 72.
I said 70 and 92.
Gotcha. Anyway,
that's my official prediction. I've also been on record to say that I could see them, if things click, being up to 75. But that's if things click. Right now, it's 3 games. I'm not going to say whether they've clicked or not.
Right.
Certainly not writing them off.
It's 3 games. You got a catcher who's still learning the staff.
That's a good point, too.
A really good catcher that's learning the staff. You know, this setback for Mitch Keller, air quotes, could just be Perez learning, hey, you know, maybe we should lay off that 2-seamer that you can't throw for a strike right now.
Well, he's not even throwing a two-seamer for Keller's not even throwing a
If
two-seamer.
that wasn't a two-seamer, then
no,
I don't know what was. He was spiking it.
His changeup is like low 90s, and his cutter, which is a
Then
slider, but he calls it a cutter, he's throwing it like the high 80s. No, he couldn't grip his changeup at all.
Yeah, he needs to figure a changeup out. I mean, he don't have one if he's throwing at 92.
Well, when your fastball, when he spiked those velos were a lot harder than what they would have been.
Yeah,
if he doesn't spike them, and maybe some of those were fastballs too. I don't really know, but either way,
the ones I saw was like 94.
Yeah, but it's going straight down. You know what I mean? Like you don't know what that pitch is. It could have been a fastball, but either way, like
it was.
He's throwing his four seam, and then he's throwing a cutter, which is when you watch the game, it's a slider, but he's calling it a cutter. Like, that's what he's calling it. And Roberto Perez, when he was mic'd up, kept calling it a cutter. And I'm like, he's throwing it like 86 to 88. If his fastball's 98, how's that and it's breaking a bunch. I'm like, that's a slider. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got that clarified that it's basically a slider, but he does call it a cutter. So maybe he holds it like that and it just breaks that much. Either way, that's going to be a serious weapon for him.
Yeah.
And
if he sets it up right.
And he has been. Like, that's the thing is that one time in the spring training, he was like, dude, this, Roberto Perez, it was so fun listening to him talk about it, but he said this cutter is going to be a game changer for him. And he was using it a lot. Like, he's using it to set up the fastball.
Yeah.
In a way. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's super good. Like, we'll see. But you're right. You're right. He is. I think he's had a little more time with Keller, and I don't know that's, but like certainly like Roanzi and, you know what I mean? These guys, like, it's going to be different. To me, we don't know what we're getting out of Thompson tomorrow, and then Quintana Tuesday. Like, we just have no clue, especially Quintana. I guarantee you he didn't turn it on in spring training one time.
Right.
He's working on something every single time. And technically, spring training wouldn't be over for these guys, which is another piece of this. When you have a shortened spring, you have a shortened spring. It is what it is. Like, these guys are behind what they would normally be.
Yep. And that's less innings for Perez to get used to them throwing in a game.
It's true, too, yeah. Yeah, I just think
you can catch bullpens all day long. Till there's a hitter in there, you don't really know.
When are we going to see Andrew Knapp? Do you think he plays tomorrow?
I think he plays tomorrow.
That way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That way you have that man. It's got to be weird. We haven't even seen him at all.
Mm-mm.
For a catcher, I think that's like super. He's got to have been like, okay, you got this guy. You go work with him all week. Figure something out. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Either way, first 3 games, I don't care. Like, you got to wait. To me, what's your number? 2 weeks? Give me 2 weeks. I'll tell you what I see. I mean, I'm going to tell you what I see every week.
Sure.
Because you're listening and we're on here. But ultimately, I'm not changing. I'm not saying like, yeah, this is awful. I can't believe it's worse than I thought. No, this is about what we thought. We thought they weren't going to be good. They're not.
Yep.
That's fine. Especially when you're playing. I mean, I have severely underestimated the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I based that on pitching alone. And with Flaherty being out, and I mean, I've heard Jordan Hicks is going to start a game for them.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was like, dude, they're not going to make a run at this. It's the Brewers division. When you look at that lineup, you're like, if they figure out any kind of pitching.
Right. And they're the Cardinals. They'll go out and get somebody if they need them.
And that's the big thing. And that, you know what I mean? We always got to remember that the Brewers are not poised to make a move at the deadline. And the Cardinals are.
Mm-hmm.
But, all right, so that's it, man. Home opener is Tuesday. We're all going to be there. You're going to be there, not sitting with me.
Nope.
We got some different seats close by. Maybe we'll shoot some tweets out. I think that there's some other guys. I think Gary and the fan forum guys are, maybe just Gary. I think the other Jim's out, but I think there's going to be something maybe around the 7th inning or something where they're going to say, hey, let's meet, this place and kind of actually meet some people in person. That's going to be a lot of fun. We've been doing this, being in contact with these kind of people. We never met them, you know what I mean? So that's going to be fun. But like, if any listeners are there, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. We'll put something out there and let you know when everybody's kind of getting together, and maybe we'll get a chance to meet some of you guys. I think that'd be really cool. But 412 day Pirates are leaning into the 4-1-2 day and doing the whole thing. So
if you haven't got tickets yet, they're selling them for $4.12.
You got to sit way up top.
Way up.
Or like you said, get standing room tickets and just go hang out in all the new things they have.
Yeah.
They really do look like they made some cool things to it. They took some seats out, which is fine. They don't fill those seats anyway. Right. And, you know, they put in some cool things, which I'm glad they took seats out to do it, especially the one in right field, because I'm like, saw some people saying like, oh, great. So I had one great view of this whole stadium, and then you built this pavilion right in there. But they took seats out to build it, so it really shouldn't obstruct the view any more than the seats did.
Right. I think it'll actually enhance the view a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll look better. Nice. Yeah, it'll look nice. That's for sure. I'm waiting to see. I might hang out there one game, maybe when the Phillies come to town. That might be a good time to hang out by the Riverwalk with I guess there's just Harper and Schwarber that's left-handed. We got to find a really left-handed heavy lineup. I want to see the first kid get knocked with a home run on that ship climbing thing, because you know it's going to happen. They put it right in the power alley, so somebody's going to knock one of those kids. I know there's a netting there, but, dude, some kid's getting a bruise for sure from a home run ball. It's going to happen. There's too many home runs that go out there to believe that that's not going to happen. So maybe they'll get free tickets for every kid who gets hit. I'd be like, hey, can we make sure that we're there every time that this guy's up? I want to make sure that I'm there. Garrett Jones is going to hit one out here, and I'm going to get plunked with a ball.
You said Garrett Jones.
G.I. Jones.
G.I. Jones.
Oh, man, I love it. I don't think I have anything else. You have anything to finish this thing off?
I don't.
All right. Hey, guys, if you check out Swearingen bats, let us know. They are really good bats.
Yep.
We're saying that, but also good people too, so that's good. But let's get these lineups figured out, and let's start seeing more offense like we did today.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, man.
All right.
That's all we have. Let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks!